Hi, I'm Michelle. Welcome to Seven Part Harmony, a place where you can celebrate who you are today and increase your love for yourself, others, and God. Welcome, I'm Michelle at Seven Part Harmony, and I decided that today we should talk about why did I decide to name my channel Seven Part Harmony. So I'm going to first tell you a story. And what was going on for me at the time was that my husband had left me, and I had 4 children, and I didn't have a job. I had a heart condition that was undiagnosed, so I was really struggling to have energy. And I also had undiagnosed ADD. It was just a lot going on. And I was discouraged. I felt like unwanted. And here I was now going to try to be the provider for my children. And I wasn't sure that I could do it. I didn't have an education. I wasn't good at school, and I didn't have a job. But one night I had a dream, and in the dream, I was on a hill, standing in what I would call like golden grass, or grass that has kind of turned golden, maybe as the summer has got to the end, and I was in a storm. It was like black clouds on the horizon, but the sun was kind of shining through, and it was actually really beautiful. Along this hill, there were 7 fence posts, and at a particular part, I looked down, and then I realized that I was a fence post. Like, my upper body was me and normal, but my lower body kind of morphed into this fence post. And suddenly in the dream, I start singing. And I start singing this old Rodgers and Hammerstein song from the musical Carousel. And the name of the song is You'll Never Walk Alone. And the lyrics kind of go like, when you walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden light and the sweet silver song of a lark. And as I started to sing, like, my voice was like way more beautiful than my voice normally is. It was so clear and really lovely, but there was harmony, like this beautiful harmony. And I looked down at the other fence posts, and suddenly there were 6 more of me. So I was 7 fence posts, and we were singing in this beautiful 7-part harmony. The song kind of goes on, and it says, walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and torn. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. And I woke up. And I just laid there, kind of like in awe, because what I had experienced in the dream was so beautiful. And I kind of was embarrassed, but like, I was beautiful. I sounded beautiful. I felt beautiful. And as I lay there, I thought, how could I dream something like that if that beauty isn't in me somewhere? If those talents and gifts or that ability isn't somehow inside of me, how could it come out of me in a dream? That doesn't seem possible. So maybe there's more to me. Maybe I'm more than the woman my husband left. Maybe I'm more than the mother who doesn't feel like she's doing a very good job. And then time went on and I thought more about the dream, I learned that the number 7 is a word that means complete and whole. And sometimes I know in my life, I want to be flawless, right? Like perfect. But I think that the dream was trying to teach me that I can be whole and I can be complete and I can be perfect without being flawless. And that I don't have to try to be something that I'm not. Also, from this dream, I learned there was in the dream a little bit of a caution, like a fear that rose up in me, because I'd had this experience where I was beautiful, and I was a little bit afraid of that. Now, I want to talk for a minute about values. It's going to seem like a big departure from what I was talking about, but I'll tie it back in a minute. So, all families have values, whether they're explicitly spoken or not. I used to teach counseling to master's level students, and I got to teach family theory and therapy. And the first day of class, I would ask all my students, about 50 students, would you draw me a picture of your family's number 1 value? And you're going to know what it is because it's going to be something you talk about in the family. It's going to be something that you go, your parents will be proud of you if you have, or they'll be disappointed in you if you don't have. So let me just give you an example. Some people value money. They don't really care if you have an education. In fact, it might be better if you don't have an education. If you're so clever that you can make money without an education, now you're in. You're in our family. We value that. We think that's amazing. We want to hang out with you. And some people, well, it wouldn't really matter if you were a millionaire. If you didn't have an education, or even especially a higher education, a master's or a PhD, they wouldn't care if you made $1 million or $1 billion. You really wouldn't be good enough in that family if you didn't have your education. So you see how in each family, like those things really are very opposite of each other, right? Families have values. So we always think of values as being like, oh, kindness, and that it can be a big thing in a family, or honesty, but there's a lot of ways to have a value. And my family has a lot of values, but one of their values is beauty. Along with that beauty, I think there comes a point where it crosses in maybe to vanity. So along with this dream that I had, where I did something that seemed impossible for me. So the dream was what I would call somewhat supernatural feeling. And because it was supernatural feeling to me, it felt like God was talking to me. Beyond just the experience of the dream, I felt like there were a few things that He wanted to teach me, that He can help me to be more than what I appeared to be right then. The second thing was that He could help me to do something that actually was impossible. I thought that was pretty exciting, the idea of doing the impossible because I'm connected to Him. The third thing was that if I stayed connected with Him, that He could help me create beauty in my life in a way that would not create vanity. And so that I didn't have to be afraid of the striving and the goals and the hope of being more than I was today, because really in the end, I would know that it was kind of His supplemental energy, and I could give Him the credit, and I didn't have to worry about what part was His and what part was mine. And lastly, I just realized that if I stuck with Him, if I stayed connected with Him, that He would make my life beautiful and surprising. So, like, what do I want? you to take out of something like this? So there's lots of things I've talked about. Like, do you pay attention to your dreams? That's one. Do you know what the values are of your family of origin? And do you subscribe to those values or not subscribe to those values? And how do those values affect the choices that you make? You know, as a counselor, we teach differentiation. Differentiation means you have this family of origin and they teach you certain things and they have a culture and a way, but somewhere along the line, as a person, if I'm going to be healthy, I have to look at my family values and I have to decide what I think of them. And I have to decide to embrace them, change them, improve them, throw them out. The problem is I would have a lot of students come into class and they felt that they were differentiated. And I would say, why do you think you're differentiated from your family of origin? And they would say, because my parents were such and such, and I'm nothing like that. And I would think, oh, isn't that funny? So it is not differentiation if there's a whole rejection of everything that your family of origin is. Because if you think about it, that means that your family of origin is still controlling you. To be differentiated from your family of origin and to be kind of complete in yourself, you can't wholly reject something. You need to really think about it and decide, why don't I like this, or why do I like this? Do I believe it myself, or am I just influenced by the authority of my parents? And learn to either capture it and claim it whole for yourself, or reject it and know why it's not what you believe or how you want to act. So that's something else that you might want to take from this video. So, I mean, that's a pretty complicated suggestion. But I think, at least for me, my connection to God, my practice of praying to Him in the morning and in the night, opens up this like time for conversation that says, you know, help me look at my family values. So in that way, you know, God has a lot of names, you know, Wonderful Counselor. And really, I found that God is the greatest counselor of all, that He can help me take these, maybe what seems complicated, and usually is able to trim them down for me in my mind in a way that's like simple and something that I can understand and digest. Either way, like my hope is that you'll think about your own life, you'll think about your values, you'll think about your dreams, and that you'll work to connect to God in order to have your life be intentional. And that you'll find that in that intentional relationship with Him, that your life becomes more than you thought, more beautiful than you could have created. Have a great day. Remember, professional therapy, counseling, and coaching are valuable tools to help you live a more full and harmonious life. Click below for more information on coaching.